Hello guys, welcome back to this channel. Today we're reviewing Harry Potter and the Order of Phoenix back to the original lighting, now that I decided to film a bit earlier in the day. So I don't really have much else to say. I think we can just get right into it. Go subscribe because I'm almost at 100 subscribers. I'm like 85. And yeah, I have a little video about that. You can go check that out. As well as my rest of the Wizarding Worlds playlist, and let's get into it. Start off with what this movie's about. This movie has Harry, who was attacked by a Dementor, which we haven't been seeing in the fourth one, which we're seeing in the third one, and that he uses a Patronus charm, which he learned in the third one, to defend himself defend himself and Dudley from the Dementor, and then he gets caught by the Ministry. And then he gets supposedly expelled from Hogwarts, and then what's it called? And then he has a hearing at the court to debate all of this, and then the Ministry, or the Minister Cornelius Fudge, is under the assumption that Dumbledore is trying to create an army to take over the Ministry, called I think it's called either Dumbledore's Army or the Order of the Phoenix or something like that. And then the next thing, one of the teachers is the dark arts teacher, Dolores Umbridge, who's from the Ministry, takes over Hogwarts essentially, and then Voldemort is in the background plotting, and no one believes Harry that he's back, except Dumbledore, pretty much. So, yeah, that was a bit of a long description, but I got it done. Now you have the good, and starting off the good, I think the fact that Harry Potter gets to step into leadership, I think is really freaking cool, because he's teaching them all the Patronus charm, Stupefy. I should have my wand, I don't feel like getting it. Hold on a second. He's teaching them Patronus charm, Expecto Patronum, Stupefy, Expelliarmus, Reductio, you know what I mean. He teaches them all those spells, and yeah, cool. I'll put it back later. So yeah, I think the fact that he gets to do that is really cool. Dumbledore, I think him and Harry's relationship starts to really develop here. This is where This is where Dumbledore gets to become a really interesting character, or starts to become an interesting character, because as you see Dumbledore and Harry's relationship develop, I think really fleshes out both characters more or less, and overall the way it kind of leads in to the sixth one, with now at the end Voldemort is seen by the Minister and everyone and there's a newspaper about it, and now he's back. So, and then that leads into the sixth one pretty well for the most part. And overall, I think all the characters are at their A game. I think the overall story, I think, is probably the best it's been, where you have the Order of the Phoenix, made up of Alastor Moody, the Weasleys, kind of our trio, Sirius Black, Lupin, and a few other characters as well. And then they're trying to build an army to stop Voldemort while he's creating his own, essentially. And the way that all plays out, I think just works so well. And everything about it is just really cool. And I still think that this one I think it's definitely the best paced of all of them. Other than, no, I think the last one's probably the best paced. But the last one's part 2, and it's just a big battle the whole time, which, no problem with that, but that's just the truth. I think this one takes the tone more so from 3 than from 4. I think the tone of 4 was a little off. And then they take that and then make it a bit of a darker story and I think this is before the franchise becomes so dark, and then this is where the tensions are rising, and this feels like the great middle chapter. This is the big transition point from Harry, the end of the fourth one and then the fifth one were kind of the transition points from being a child at Hogwarts learning about everything to Voldemort coming back, and then him getting ready to prepare for the last 3 movies, which I think, the way the conclusion here, and the final battle, this is probably my favorite Harry Potter final battle. It's this or the last one, honestly. And the way everything plays out works so well. And I think the characters are all great here. Neville gets a bit more to do here than he has in past films. And this is where he starts to get on that little hero's journey that's kind of followed up in Deathly Hallows Part 2, where he's practicing the Petrificus Totalis Spell, and Expelliarmus, all of those other ones. So they're all really cool. I think all of that's really great. Not cool, great. And the way it plays out just works so well. I'm ranting, so yeah. Now you have the mixed stuff. As I said, this movie does have really good pacing, but the things that at times it does fly a bit too through a bit too far with elements at times. Like when he gets to when you specifically the moments where Snape is like not really tormenting, but doing the whole thing with the Harry. The way it kind of transitions from scenes to scenes with that whole thing was very weird. All the Christmas stuff was a little weird. They just came home. I think this movie needed to be maybe like 10 minutes longer. They could have fleshed out a few more things. And then I think this one could have easily been number one. I think this one is definitely one of my favorites. I will say that. Because I think this one is probably one of the most rewatchable ones. And I think it is a great one. This is like the one thing that kind of holds it back, honestly. Now you have the bad, and the one thing that's never sat right with me is that whole sequence where Snape is doing the whole thing with Harry. I think the scene itself is just alright. I think it's perfectly fine. I don't have any problems with the scenes themselves. But the issue is the way it plays in with the plot is just very weird. The way it plays out is a little odd because you're essentially transitioning, and then it feels like he's just into a dream right then and there. And then he comes out, and then, so everything with Hagrid is essentially a dream. So that element has always really confused me. And I think maybe if they showed him stopping with Harry, so I know this is a very minor nitpick. I've learned to sort of deal with this, and it's not really a problem for me anymore, but I feel like by any flaw, this is kind of the main one, this and the pacing, but the pacing doesn't really bother me. But yeah. So that's my conclusion for this movie, essentially. For this movie's final score, just like Prisoner of Azkaban, I'm going to give this like a 9.4, 9.5 out of 10. 9.5, I'll settle with that. I think this one is also very good. I think it's fantastic. This one, I think, is probably the one I don't think it's the one I've seen the most, but this is the one that I think I always see myself coming back to, and I'm not, it's this and the third one, really, that I'm always coming back to, and I'm not binging the franchise, because I think this and the third one are definitely the most rewatchable. I think this one's probably the most rewatchable, in my opinion, as you see all the plot lines go on, because it kind of has I think of any of them, I think this one has the best story structure, in my opinion, whereas the perfect first act, second act, and third act, where I think the third one, it has a bit of a weird first act, in my opinion. Like, the way it kind of plays out is a little odd. And then the second and third acts are really cool. Yeah, that's my conclusion on this movie. So, tell me if you really like this one. Tell me if it is your favorite. I'm closing on 100 subscribers. I'm decently close. So, please subscribe down below. That just takes 2 clicks. And also hit notification bell if you want to see more videos. Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe. And I'll see you guys next time. Adios.